Welcome to the Fine Lecture Series. On behalf of the Perinatology Research Branch of NICHD and the National Institutes of Health, my name is Lami Yo, and I am one of the developers of Fine. Before we begin, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel to learn more about fetal intelligent navigation echocardiography, or FINE, its features, and practical implementation in the clinical setting. More educational presentations will be forthcoming. In 4 different videos of this YouTube series, we are teaching the novel technology known as Virtual Intelligent Sonographer Assistance, or VISA Assistance, which we also call VISA. This is actually one of the most important and essential tools of the FINE method. Therefore, we strongly recommend taking some time to learn about this technology. VISA Assistance, or VISA, are video clips for each of the 9 fetal cardiac views, which function as a virtual sonographer to intelligently assist you in examining the fetal heart. So, be sure to take advantage of this feature when performing the FINE method. In Part 1, we introduced VISA Assistance and its objectives, while in Part 2, the 7 benefits of VISA and when to use this tool were discussed. In Part 3, we reviewed the VISA callouts for each of the 9 cardiac views, which inform the user of the specific purpose or action of the VISA navigational movements. This is now Part 4, and here we will first teach you how to activate and operate VISA through its buttons and controls. In other words, we will review the knobology of VISA. We will then review important features of VISA that will enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination, such as bookmarking and double or triple VISA. As a brief reminder, VISA Assistance stands for Virtual Intelligent Sonographer Assistance. This is an operator-independent tool that allows automatic sonographic navigation and exploration of surrounding structures in each of the 9 cardiac diagnostic planes. It is essentially a virtual sonographer in the form of video clips for each of the 9 cardiac views. Let's now review the knobology of VISA Assistance. First, how is this technology activated? Here are the 9 cardiac diagnostic planes displayed by FINE for a normal fetal heart. VISA Assistance is activated for any of these diagnostic planes by first clicking on the plane and then clicking on the VISA Assistance button as shown. In this example, VISA is being activated for the 3 vessels and trachea view as shown by the thin orange box around this view. This is the easiest way to activate VISA. An alternative method to activate VISA Assistance is to click on the drop-down menu located at the right side of the screen. Each of the 9 cardiac views is listed, and the user can choose any of the views by clicking on its name. Next, click the VISA Assistance button as shown. After pressing the arrowhead button, this is the drop-down menu which appears. Each of the 9 cardiac views is listed. Next, select the cardiac view of interest. In this example, we want to activate the ductal arch VISA, and so the name ductal arch should be clicked. Regardless of which method is used to activate VISA Assistance, once the VISA Assistance button has been clicked, it will turn blue in color and the video clip will begin loading. Loading of the VISA Assistance video clip is indicated by the gray colored bar. There are always 2 images in the panel. The left image will always show the original diagnostic plane and is labeled at the bottom, In this example, it states 3 vessels and trachea view. The VISA video clip will always play on the right side, and the callouts will always appear at the top of each VISA Assistance video clip. There are several points to make about the panel depicting the diagnostic plane and VISA Assistance. First, the original diagnostic plane image will stay the same throughout the entire VISA video clip and is shown for the user's reference. Next, the first frame of the VISA Assistance video clip is always identical to the diagnostic plane image. An exception is the Vena Cava VISA Assistance, where such frames are not identical to each other. Here is an example of the 3 vessels and trachea view. Notice that the first frame of the VISA video clip is identical to the diagnostic plane image on the left side. In contrast, for the Vena Cava view, notice that the first frame of the video clip is not identical to the diagnostic plane image on the left side. This will not affect the performance or benefits of VISA, however. Let's briefly discuss the number of frames in VISA Assistance video clips. For each of the 9 fetal cardiac views, the VISA Assistance video clip has a different number of frames depending upon what is being shown. The number of frames in the entire video clip is shown at the right side of the panel. In this example of the 4-chamber view VISA, there are 526 total frames. The VISA image currently being shown is that of frame 147. That is why it states 147 of 526. This table shows that the number of frames in the VISA Assistance video clip varies depending upon the fetal cardiac view. For example, the 5-chamber VISA has the most number of frames, 1,269 frames, because of the fetal cardiac anatomy being shown. In contrast, the abdomen-stomach VISA only contains 185 frames. The duration of VISA Assistance video clips will, of course, depend upon the number of frames within the video clip. Therefore, it makes sense that the 5-chamber VISA video clip has the longest duration at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, since it has the most number of frames. In contrast, the abdomen-stomach VISA video clip is only 32 seconds long because it contains the least number of frames. An important point worth emphasizing here is that VISA Assistance adds great value and is an essential component of the fetal cardiac examination, and accomplishes this through video clips lasting only 30 seconds to 3 minutes. There are 2 types of navigation through the VISA video clip: spontaneous navigation or operator navigation. Spontaneous navigation through the VISA Assistance video clip is operator independent. This means that the video clip plays spontaneously. The user watches all frames throughout the video clip and does not touch the gray slider button. This type of navigation is strongly recommended for reasons we will discuss later in this presentation. Alternatively, the operator can navigate through the VISA video clip by using the slider button to scroll through frames. The knobology changes depending on the type of navigation through the VISA video clip. For example, only spontaneous navigation has a speed control panel. Operator navigation has 2 additional buttons. One button allows you to update the diagnostic plane image. The second button allows bookmarking of fetal cardiac images. We will review these features later in the presentation. Let's first discuss the knobology of spontaneous navigation through the VISA video clip. As soon as the Visa video clip finishes loading, it will spontaneously begin to play. Notice that the gray slider button is moving through the frames of the video clip and that the speed has been automatically set to 7. This is a close-up view of the panel. In this Visa video clip of the 3 vessels and trachea view, there are 474 total frames, and the video clip is currently at frame 104. This is the gray slider button that will move spontaneously towards the right through all the frames. Finally, this part of the panel indicates the speed of Visa navigation, which is 7 for the 3 vessels and trachea view. We will discuss hide view and movie length later in this presentation. Now, you can observe all the frames in the Visa video clip with the fetal heart in motion. Or you can choose to observe all frames in the Visa video clip with the fetal heart not in motion. In this example, originally the heart is in motion at 60 beats per minute, but the user presses the button in the cardiac cycle box. This now freezes the fetal heart in both the diagnostic plane and Visa video clip so that the fetal heart is no longer in motion. When the Visa video clip is finished playing, it will automatically replay from the beginning. During spontaneous Visa navigation, the speed varies for each of the 9 video clips. We have programmed the default speed to what we believe is appropriate. The speeds range from 3 to 7. This example shows a speed of 7. The speed can be adjusted by the operator to their preference. In this example, the program speed is 4. Watch the Visa video clip on the right side as the user grabs the button and increases the speed to 40, and then decreases the speed to 16. Let's now review the knobology of operator navigation through the Visa video clip. In this example, initially there is spontaneous Visa assistance navigation, but at frame 180, the operator grabs the slider button and navigates through the video clip. Notice that the knobology panel changes as soon as the operator performs the navigation. The operator may navigate through the Visa video clip by using the gray slider button to scroll through the entire video clip, or by using the arrow keys. The advantage of using the arrow keys is that the operator can navigate one frame at a time. Now, you can scroll through frames in the Visa video clip with the fetal heart in motion. In this example, both the gray slider button and the arrow keys are used to move through the frames. Or you can scroll through frames in the Visa video clip with the fetal heart not in motion. In this example, the user stops the fetal heart motion, which occurs for both the diagnostic plane and Visa, and then manually scrolls through the video clip. Now that we have reviewed both types of Visa assistance navigation, the question is, which navigation type is recommended, spontaneous or operator? We strongly recommend observing cardiac images through spontaneous Visa assistance navigation. This is because if the operator navigates through the Visa assistance video clip, important image frames may be missed. Until now, we have focused on the knobology of VISA Assistance. Now we will review some important features of VISA Assistance that enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination, such as bookmarking of images, movie length, and double or triple VISA Assistance. The first feature is the ability to update any fetal cardiac diagnostic plane. This is explained using conceptual diagrams. Here are the 9 fetal cardiac diagnostic planes automatically generated by the FIND method. The aortic arch view is indicated by the red star, and the user wants to activate VISA Assistance for this view. After activating VISA Assistance, the original aortic arch diagnostic plane is on the left side, while the VISA video clip plays on the right side. As already discussed, the video clip contains numerous frames. The user decides that one of the images in the VISA video clip, indicated by the blue triangle, is more appropriate and wants to replace the original diagnostic plane with this new image. To accomplish this, press the button labeled Update Diagnostic Plane. As a result, the original aortic arch diagnostic plane is now replaced with the new image from the VISA Assistance video clip. In summary, any of the 9 fetal cardiac diagnostic planes may be replaced with a new image that has been obtained via VISA Assistance. Here is an actual case in which we want to improve the left ventricular outflow tract view in the diagnostic plane template. Therefore, VISA Assistance is activated for the left ventricular outflow tract view, and the video clip is now loading. There is spontaneous navigation through the VISA Assistance video clip, and notice that the left ventricular outflow tract view on the right-hand side will begin to improve as compared to the diagnostic plane image on the left. At frame 134, we have located an image that we want to update the diagnostic plane template with. So we pause the VISA Assistance video clip, press the Update Diagnostic Plane button, and you will now notice that the left ventricular outflow tract view has been updated with the new cardiac image. Another feature in VISA Assistance which is related to updating the diagnostic plane is bookmarking images from the VISA Assistance video clip. From the video clip, the user may bookmark up to 4 cardiac images which are in motion. Then, from these 4 VISA images, the user can select one image to replace the diagnostic plane. What is the advantage of bookmarking images? When viewing the VISA video clip, there may be multiple images found that are desirable to replace the diagnostic plane. Therefore, by bookmarking the images, one can review and compare them to each other to decide on the best image for replacement. The bookmark button is located on the left side of the panel and appears only when the VISA video clip has been paused. If the user has bookmarked 4 cardiac images, this will be indicated by the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 as shown here. To bookmark the first image, press the bookmark button and the panel will change to show the number 1 highlighted in blue color. To bookmark the second image, press the bookmark button again, and the panel will show the number 2 highlighted in blue color. This same process continues when bookmarking a third and fourth image. Here is an example of 4 bookmarked images selected from the VISA Assistance video clip of the short axis view of the great vessels. The fetal heart is not in motion for this case. The diagnostic plane is located on the left side, and remember that this image always stays the same throughout the Visa video clip. When reviewing the 4 bookmarked images, notice that they are all different compared to the diagnostic plane and also to each other. After bookmarking is completed, the user reviews each of the 4 images to choose which one will replace the diagnostic plane image. This is done by clicking on the button labeled 1, 2, 3, or 4. The corresponding bookmarked image will appear. After reviewing the 4 bookmarked images, the user has chosen bookmark 4 to replace the diagnostic plane image on the left. This is accomplished by pressing the Update Diagnostic Plane button. Bookmarked image 4 from the Visa video clip will now replace the diagnostic plane. Here is an example of bookmarking images from the Visa Assistance video clip of the 5-chamber view. Visa has been activated because the left side of the fetal heart appears smaller than the right. The question is whether there is congenital heart disease or instead just an azimuth issue because the plane is tilted. Here we are performing operator navigation through the Visa Assistance video clip, and the first image to be bookmarked is located, so the bookmark button is pressed. We then proceed through the Visa Assistance video clip and locate a second image of the 5-chamber view that we would like to bookmark. So we press the bookmark button again. This is the second image for bookmarking. We proceed through the Visa Assistance video clip, locate the third image to be bookmarked, and press the bookmark button again. And finally, we go through the Visa Assistance video clip to locate the 4th image for bookmarking and press the bookmark button. We now review all images by pressing the first button, the second button, the third button, and the 4th button, and have decided that it's either between bookmark image 1 and 4 that we would like to replace the diagnostic plane image with. We ultimately decide on bookmark image 4. We update the diagnostic plane by pressing the button, and bookmark image 4 has now replaced the original 5-chamber view in the diagnostic plane template. Now, what happens if the user decides not to display the updated cardiac diagnostic plane image? Is it possible to return back to the original diagnostic plane? The answer is yes. This is accomplished using the Initiate feature. So, after the diagnostic plane was updated with a new image obtained from Visa Assistance, to return back to the original diagnostic plane, press the Initiate button. This button can be found to the right of the diagnostic plane panel. Here is an example where the original abdomen-stomach diagnostic plane is being replaced by a new image from Visa Assistance. Visa Assistance is activated, and the video clip is now loading. Using operator navigation, a new abdomen-stomach image is located and the Update Diagnostic Plane button is pressed, and the new image is now found in the diagnostic plane template. But because the user changes their mind, they press the Initiate button, and now the original diagnostic plane image of the abdomen and stomach is now seen. Another feature of Visa Assistance is known as Hide View. The purpose of Hide View is to hide a cardiac view. This button is located in the Visa Assistance panels for both spontaneous and operator navigation through the Visa video clip. Hide View can be applied to either the diagnostic planes or Visa Assistance. For the diagnostic planes, HideView hides one or more of the cardiac diagnostic planes in the template. The advantage of this is that the user can save the diagnostic plane template for the medical chart containing only the desired cardiac views. In this example, the user has hidden only the abdomen-stomach view from the template of 9 diagnostic planes. Also, notice that the name of the view has also been hidden. HideView allows more than one diagnostic plane to be hidden. In this example, the abdomen-stomach view has already been hidden. In addition, the user has hidden the aortic arch view. Therefore, the user desires to save only 7 fetal cardiac views for the medical chart. Here is an example where the user wants to hide the 4-chamber view in the diagnostic plane template. To do this, Visa Assistance is activated. The image that will be hidden is the diagnostic plane image on the left. The Visa image on the right is not relevant. The user should click on the box labeled Hide View. There is now a blue-colored check mark in the box, and notice that the diagnostic plane image on the left is now hidden. Next, the user should click on the Diagnostic Planes button. As a result, both the 4-chamber view and its name are now hidden in the Diagnostic Planes template. Now, what happens if the user changes their mind and wants to restore the 4-chamber view back into the diagnostic plane template? Press the Initiate button, and the 4-chamber view is restored back to its original location in the template along with its name. Here is a video showing how to hide the 4-chamber view diagnostic plane. Visa Assistance is activated for the 4-chamber view, and after the video loads, the diagnostic plane image on the left is what we want to hide. We press the Hide View button, the image is hidden. Next, press the Diagnostic Planes button, and the 4-chamber view is no longer visualized in the template. If you change your mind, press the Initiate button, and the 4-chamber view is now restored back to the diagnostic plane template. Hide View may also be applied to Visa Assistance. This will hide the diagnostic plane image in the panel so that only the Visa Assistance image is visualized. This example demonstrates Hide View for the aortic arch Visa Assistance. Visa is activated, and after the video loads, the Hide View button is now pressed so that the diagnostic plane image on the left disappears, and the only images that are seen are Visa Assistance of the aortic arch on the right-hand side. The next feature designed to enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination is Visa Assistance Movie Length. First, what is the advantage of saving Visa Assistance movies or video clips? Besides saving Visa video clips for the purpose of medical documentation, both diagnostic planes and Visa Assistance video clips can be transmitted by telemedicine for expert consultation, thereby extending the benefits of prenatal cardiac examination. Smartphones, tablets, and other devices can be used to receive the transmitted information. Visa Assistance video clips can be saved and shared in their entirety, meaning that all frames are included. However, we recognized that users might want to decrease the Visa movie length to focus on a specific area of interest. In other words, the number of frames could be decreased to provide a targeted video clip for review. This is accomplished through the tool known as Movie Length. The Movie Length buttons are located at the bottom of the Visa Assistance panel. A closer look shows that users have the option of saving a movie length that contains all frames, 100 frames, 50, or 20 frames. The smaller the number of frames, the shorter the Visa movie or video clip. When the movie length is set to all frames, this means that the entire Visa Assistance video clip or movie is being shown. To save a different movie length, the user must first select the frame of interest within the Visa Assistance video clip. The movie length is always centered around this specific frame of interest, which could be where a cardiac abnormality is shown, for example. Next, choose and click on the movie length or frames. This will be the total number of frames in the movie, in this case 100 frames. The Find software then divides the number of frames by 2, in this case 100 divided by 2, which is 50. This number of frames is equally distributed before and after the frame of interest. So the final movie length will contain 50 frames before the frame of interest and 50 frames after the frame of interest. Let's explain this in more detail. In this example, the user has chosen 100 total frames for the movie length. The specific frame of interest is shown in red. The Find software divides the 100 total frames by 2. Therefore, there will be 50 frames before the frame of interest and 50 frames after the frame of interest. In another example, the user has chosen 50 total frames for the movie length. The specific frame of interest is shown in blue. The Find software divides the 50 total frames by 2. Therefore, there will be 25 frames before the frame of interest and 25 frames after the frame of interest. Finally, the user has chosen 20 total frames for the movie length. The specific frame of interest is shown in green. The Find software divides the 20 total frames by 2. Therefore, there will be 10 frames before the frame of interest and 10 frames after the frame of interest. Now let's review real fetal cases. To decrease the Visa movie length, the first step is to select the frame of interest. This is a case of tetralogy of Fallot, and Visa Assistance has been activated for the short axis view of the great vessel's right ventricular outflow tract. The purpose is to examine the pulmonary artery bifurcation more clearly, which is obtained in frame 450 and becomes the frame of interest. The entire video clip contains 630 frames. However, the user wants to create a shorter movie length centered around the frame of interest. If the movie length is set for 100 frames, there will be 50 frames before the frame of interest and 50 frames after the frame of interest. Therefore, the movie will start at frame 400 and end at frame 499. Notice that the original total number of frames within the Visa video clip, in this case 630 frames, is still displayed in the panel. Now here is the 100 frame Visa video clip or movie. Remember that the frame of interest is number 450. Notice that the video clip only plays from frames 400 to 499. The pulmonary artery bifurcation is shown nicely in the Visa image as compared to the diagnostic plane image on the left. If the movie length is set for 50 frames, there will be 25 frames before the frame of interest and 25 frames after the frame of interest. Therefore, the movie will start at frame 425. and will end at frame 474. Now, here is the 50-frame Visa video clip or movie. Remember that the frame of interest is number 450. Notice that the video clip only plays from frames 425 to 474 and is much shorter. If the movie length is set for 20 frames, there will only be 10 frames before the frame of interest and 10 frames after the frame of interest. Therefore, the movie will start at frame 440 and will end at frame 459. Here is the 20-frame Visa video clip or movie. Remember that the frame of interest is number 450. Notice that the video clip only plays from frames 440 to 459 and is quite short in length. We will now show all shortened Visa Assistance movie lengths for one case. The frame of interest is located at frame 450, and the user then clicks on 100 frames, 50 frames, and 20 frames. Notice the frame number changing within the red circle. The Visa movie is then played containing only 20 frames. By creating a targeted movie or video clip, this can be transmitted by telemedicine for expert consultation. The last feature to discuss is double and triple Visa Assistance, which can enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination, especially in cases of congenital heart disease. The double Visa Assistance technique is when Visa is applied twice to a cardiac diagnostic plane. The purpose is to allow expanded navigational movements and further exploration of surrounding structures as compared to Visa being activated only once, or classic Visa. In addition, double Visa Assistance allows any cardiac diagnostic plane to be replaced with a new image. How is double Visa Assistance performed? For a given original cardiac diagnostic plane, Visa Assistance is activated and a new cardiac view is obtained called new DP1. The user replaces the original diagnostic plane with new DP1 so that it appears in the template of 9 cardiac views. This is accomplished by pressing the button labeled Update Diagnostic Plane. As shown here, the original diagnostic plane has now been replaced with new DP1. Visa is now activated a second time for new DP1. New DP1 is now the diagnostic plane on the left. Visa is activated and a new cardiac view is obtained called new DP2. The user replaces the diagnostic plane with new DP2 so that it appears in the template of 9 cardiac views. This is accomplished by pressing the button labeled Update Diagnostic Plane. Remember that double Visa allows expanded navigational movements and further exploration of surrounding structures. Therefore, important information about the fetal heart may become evident through this technique. As shown here, new DP1 has now been replaced with new DP2. In summary, this is called double Visa Assistance because Visa has been applied twice to a cardiac diagnostic plane of interest. How is triple Visa Assistance performed? When Visa Assistance is activated a third time for the diagnostic plane, this is called the triple Visa Assistance technique. New DP2 is the diagnostic plane on the left. VISA is activated and a new cardiac view is obtained called new DP3. The user replaces the diagnostic plane with new DP3 so that it appears in the template of 9 cardiac views. This is accomplished by pressing the button labeled Update Diagnostic Plane. As shown here, new DP2 has now been replaced with new DP3. Therefore, the triple VISA assistance technique is when VISA has been applied 3 times to a cardiac diagnostic plane of interest. The purpose is to allow expanded navigational movements and further exploration of surrounding structures as compared to VISA being activated only once or twice, which is double VISA assistance. In addition, triple VISA assistance allows any cardiac diagnostic plane to be replaced with a new image. We would now like to present a case of transposition of the great vessels in which double and triple VISA assistance were vital in making the diagnosis. Normally, the great vessels cross as they arise from their respective ventricles. The right ventricle is connected to the pulmonary artery, while the left ventricle is connected to the aorta. However, in complete transposition of the great vessels, the vessels are parallel to each other and side by side as they arise from the ventricles. The vessels are transposed or switched in position so that the right ventricle is now connected to the aorta, while the left ventricle is connected to the pulmonary artery. Here is a fetal case of transposition of the great vessels. The first image shows a vessel that bifurcates, leaving the left ventricle. Therefore, this is the pulmonary artery. The 3 vessels and trachea view shows a single large vessel, the aorta, exiting from the right ventricle, with the superior vena cava in blue color located to its right. Because the pulmonary artery is located inferiorly to the aorta, it is not visible in the 3 vessels and trachea view. The video clip shows both of the images just reviewed. Now, here is a different fetus analyzed by the FIND method. The original 3 vessels and trachea view diagnostic plane shows a single large vessel, the aorta, exiting from the right ventricle with the superior vena cava located to its right. Transposition of the great vessels was therefore suspected. VISA assistance was activated for the 3 vessels and trachea view diagnostic plane the first time to try and identify the pulmonary artery. A vessel was located inferiorly to the aorta. However, to characterize this vessel further, double VISA was performed. It is now evident that the vessel exits from the left ventricle and also bifurcates, confirming this is the pulmonary artery. To improve the image further, triple VISA is activated. The pulmonary artery is clearly identified exiting from the left ventricle, thus confirming the diagnosis of transposition of the great vessels. Now, let's show all of this together. The original 3 vessels and trachea view diagnostic plane shows a single large vessel, the aorta, exiting from the right ventricle, with the superior vena cava located to its right. VISA is activated the first time to try and identify the pulmonary artery. Here we are performing operator navigation through the video clip. A vessel is located inferiorly to the aorta. However, to characterize this vessel further, double VISA is performed. It becomes evident that the vessel exits from the left ventricle and also bifurcates, as shown here, confirming that this is the pulmonary artery. To improve the image further and clean up the left ventricle, triple VISA is now activated. Through the VISA Assistance video clip, the pulmonary artery is clearly identified exiting from the left ventricle, thus confirming the diagnosis of transposition of the great vessels. So we have just demonstrated the application of double and triple VISA assistance to a case of transposition of the great vessels. But is there empirical evidence that double or triple VISA assistance enhances the overall fetal cardiac examination, especially in cases of congenital heart disease? Our team performed a study in which stick volumes of 50 fetuses with a broad spectrum of congenital heart disease were analyzed using the FIND method. FIND was able to identify congenital heart disease with 98% sensitivity. To gain further assistance in determining the congenital heart disease diagnosis and obtaining more information, the investigators employed double VISA assistance in 56% of the stick volumes for 1 to 3 fetal echocardiography views. On the other hand, triple VISA assistance was activated for only 10% of the stick volumes for 1 to 2 fetal echocardiography views. Therefore, in this study, double VISA was utilized in more than half of congenital heart disease cases. Double and triple VISA are just one of the characteristics of the FIND method that are fundamental in determining whether the fetal heart is abnormal and in determining the specific cardiac diagnosis. Therefore, yes, there is empirical evidence that the double or triple VISA assistance technique can enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination, especially in cases of congenital heart disease. In conclusion, we have reviewed the knobology of VISA assistance. The number of frames and duration of VISA assistance video clips vary depending on the fetal cardiac view. There are two types of navigation through VISA assistance video clips: spontaneous navigation or operator navigation. Spontaneous navigation is the type that is strongly recommended. There are important features of VISA assistance that enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination: update diagnostic plane, bookmark, hide view, movie length, and double or triple VISA assistance. Both diagnostic planes and VISA assistance video clips can be transmitted by telemedicine for expert consultation, thus extending the benefits of prenatal cardiac examination. Moreover, smartphones, tablets, and other devices can be used to receive transmitted information, diagnostic planes, or VISA assistance video clips. Double and triple VISA assistance allow expanded navigational movements and further exploration of surrounding structures as compared to VISA being activated only once. There is empirical evidence that it can enhance the overall fetal cardiac examination, especially in cases of congenital heart disease. Thank you for your attention.